What is up, everyone? JD here. Hope you're all doing well today. Today, I'm going to be bringing you my disassembly of the TW Dawn Price. Check out the review for this one if you haven't seen it. This is a great model. We see here that we probably have, it's safe to assume, a captive pivot because there is no bolt hole or Torx hole here, and you do have some standoffs here in the back. You're probably going to need to take this one off first to get to that pocket clip, and then you can actually proceed to finish disassembly on the non-show side. So let's go ahead and take this one out and see if that is going all the way through to the other side, which I think it will be, and it is pretty snug in there. So just keep that in mind if this is your first time disassembling this particular knife. And it doesn't want to drop down. So let's see if the pocket clip will come out now. Nope. And being that the bolt won't drop, I'm wondering if it has a hidden, because usually it does feel like it's coming loose. So maybe it's just because I haven't disassembled this one yet, but it feels like it should just come out. Let me go ahead and just see if it'll back out anymore. There we go. Okay, so it was sitting on that pin. So it has a, not a stop pin, but probably something to keep it from rotating off of the blade. So that is very interesting. I don't know that I've necessarily seen that before, but now with the bolt out, you can leave it there. You really don't need to take it out. You can go ahead and proceed to remove the standoff on the frame lock side. Make sure. There we go. Couldn't get that in there for some reason. It is very tight tolerances, which is okay. That means that it is hugging the bit, which is fine by me. And then with that one removed, you can go ahead and take the pivot bolt out. So it looks like the pivot collar wants to come with it. It is a very short pivot bolt, and it does have Loctite on there because it was backing out when I first got it. Put your thumb or something on the blade to keep it from moving. Lift your lock bar up and then go ahead and start to wiggle the knife apart. It should just relatively come pretty easy apart from here. Doesn't want to lift off of these standoffs. Make sure that this bolt isn't snagging the frame. Yep, that's what it was, because now it's really loose. Oh, it came back up. Let me see if I can, there we go, get it out of the way. There we go. All right, with it disassembled, you can see here the smooth part of the cage, or this, yeah, the smooth part of the cage, not the open part of the cage, is on the outside, meaning that on the outside of the frame facing the blade. What you can go ahead and do now is go ahead and get you a nice clean cloth. Well, clean-ish. Go ahead and spray just a little bit of rubbing alcohol. You don't need much. Go ahead, I would start with your blade. Go ahead and clean that up. Really easy to clean. You can see the track has been wearing on this one because I do carry it a lot. I would go ahead and clean both the inside and outside of the frame itself. And the reason I like rubbing alcohol is because it does dry relatively quick. I am going to go ahead and clean all of this off. It looks really, really dirty, and that could be from the factory. I don't think it's from me, but I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not from me. Go ahead and clean your bearings off as well. And as you can see, the rubbing alcohol goes a long way. When you spray it on the cloth, it dries off of the materials really fast though. And this is going to be your liner. In here, you want to make sure that you peek at it to see if you can see where the track is. I can't tell. Oh, yeah, definitely on that side. So the track is already starting to wear there. I'm going to put it back like I found it, just because it is going to be easier for me to continue to break it in that way. I'm going to go ahead and clean off the stop pin since it went ahead and fell out. Go ahead and take your pivot collar out, or pivot bolt. The collar wants to stay. There we go. And then once you have that apart, I would try to tap out the track. Let me see if I can find where it's wet. And clean out. I would just clean out everything. Clean it all out while you have it apart. Should be relatively easy to take apart. You can go ahead and put your pivot bolt, pivot collar back. Let's go ahead and clean the pivot off as well. It looks pretty grimy. Let me go ahead. I don't have any way to kind of spin this easily with large hands. Trying to make sure that it's nice and clean. Take a look at this pivot. This is very interesting. It is a large D shape in there. Let's see, where is the wet? Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty clean. We'll go ahead, reinstall the pivot, and then what you want to do is while you're reinstalling it, since the D shape is on the opposite side, take a look at your non-show side or your frame lock side. See how the pivot's facing to the back. Just try to get that lined up pretty good. If you can get it close, it should fall in. That looks pretty good. All right, what you're going to do is reassemble everything now. So now that everything has fallen back out, I got to find the track. The track is definitely on that side, so we'll reinstall that. There we go. Nice tight tolerances. Now you're going to start to lube stuff. The action on here is so good, I'm not too worried about putting skiffs in here. I really don't think that it needs it. The bearings are ceramic, phosphor bronze cage. Remember now, smooth side or closed side of your bearings facing out. Now that you have this side completely assembled, make sure you check your pivot bolt. Mine moved on me. Go ahead and drop your blade down on it. Go ahead and lube your pivot by I usually just let it drop in from the top down. And then I usually just put 4 dabs. Just, a little bit goes a long way on these. You really don't need too much. You can even kind of wash them together there. What you'll want to do, since this one's moving or falling out, find your track and then just go ahead and stick it over top of the bearings, because this one's, the tolerances aren't that tight to where it's not going to come, it's going to continue to do that. All right, now you're going to go ahead and make sure that you work in the pivot side first, and then go ahead and drop everything down. Once you have it in place, you can go ahead and reinstall the pivot collar. Oops, I didn't mean to grab the bolt with it. And reinstall the pivot bolt. Go ahead, drop that into where it's flush. Again, make sure that you're not cross-threading anything. Drop that down, just snug it up. You really don't need to make it too tight. And then go ahead and reinstall the standoff bolt. Go ahead and tighten that one all the way down. What I would do with the pocket clip off is go ahead and check and make sure that you're centered. We are not, so we definitely need to tighten up the pivot a little bit more. Just a little bit, not too much. I'm going to go just a little past tight, and let's see how that feels. It looks centered. No, it's a little off. That's a little off centered. Let's see here. Yeah, it's a little off. So we got to go back and tighten it back up just a tiny bit. All right, let's see how that did. Looks like it's a little off still. Oops. That looks pretty centered. Maybe a little bit on the show side. What do y'all think? Looks pretty centered. All right, let me loosen it. move everything back over. Loosen this as well. Alright, turn this back down. Sometimes it be like that. Nice and centered. Not quite fall shut. Let's see if we can back it out just a little. It moved a little. Still nice and centered. Oh yeah, it's moving freely now. And nice and centered. Alright, go ahead and reinstall your non-reversible pocket clip. I didn't notice this originally in the review, but it has a landing pad, and it does make a difference because it goes really smooth in and out of the pocket. So using the standoff, we'll go ahead and, actually it's really tight, so I'm just gonna hit it with just a little, come on, out of the applicator. Oop, just a little bit. Take a little bit off of there. It is a really snug fit. There we go. That let it go in nice and easy. We will go ahead and reinstall the through barrel pocket clip bolt and snug that up. Nice and, yeah, nice and centered. And action's really good. So there you go, disassembly and reassembly and maintenance of your TW Dawn Price. If you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor, leave a like, consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed, and thank you to everyone who is subscribed and comments regularly on the videos. I appreciate all the support. I hope all of you have a fantastic week, and until next time, peace.